Hi, Tim Tucker here from United Way Central Ohio Tax Time. In this video, we're going to go over the Social Security lump sum distributions for tax year 2025. What is a Social Security lump sum payment? It's a payment that is received in the current tax year, which includes a benefit that's attributable to a prior year. What are the options when a lump sum payment is involved? Well, the default option is just to include the entire taxable amount into the current income for the current year. Unfortunately, this may end up having the taxpayer pay a higher tax because their income has increased and their Social Security has increased. And that's not always fair. The alternative is to do a lump sum election calculation. This is where we calculate the tax liability as if the benefits had been received in the prior years in which they were due. And in this case, in some cases, the overall tax may be lower. Now, it's important to note that an SSA 1099 might include lump sum payments for multiple prior years, in which case there's actually a separate lump sum election calculation required for each of these years. Let's talk about what's unique for tax year 2025. In the past, we might have seen lump sum payments for cases where disability payment disputes were settled and the Social Security Administration included back payments in the current year. In 2025, the Social Security Fairness Act was passed, which eliminated several older provisions and returned benefits to some folks. I'm not going to go into the details of the new law. You can Google it to find out more if you're interested. But the bottom line is that this year we may see more lump sum payments as part of the SSA 1099 for taxpayers that were public employees, such as teachers. As an FYI, our typical tax problems FAQ, which can be found under Slack in the general channel in the FAQ tab, has a summary of this information, and it may be a quicker way to refresh your memory later on in the season if you need to go back and remember how to do this. How can I tell if there's a lump sum distribution included in the current year SSA 1099? If you look in the SSA 1099 description section, it will list the benefits that were received this year that were due in prior years. So if you look at the example shown here, it shows a 2025 SSA 1099 where payments in 2025 included back due benefits from 2024. In this case, $17,000 of the total $40,000 received were for benefits due in 2024. So what information is needed to figure the lump sum election? You're going to need the following. Obviously, the SSA 1099 from the current year, and then you'll need a return from the prior years for which back due benefits were received. So for every year that back due benefits were received, you'll need the return for that year. And the information that's needed from each year's return is shown here. You'll need the filing status of the prior year, the total benefit, Social Security benefits received the prior year, which will be in 1040 Box 6A, the taxable portion of the benefits received in the prior year, which is in the prior year 1040 Box 6B, the Social Security benefits received in the current year that are attributable to the prior year. So this is what I showed in the previous slide on the SSA 1099 descriptions box. We need the adjusted gross income, the AGI of the prior year, which is in the prior year 1040 Box 11. Then there are exclusion and slash adjustments for the prior year. In almost all cases, this is going to amount to any student loan interest deduction if there was any. And this would be the student loan interest deduction would be on the prior year Schedule 1, line 21. Typically, the other things that would fall under this category are almost always zero. And then finally, we need the tax-exempt interest from the prior year, which is the prior year 1040 Box 2A, and this is almost always zero. Now, if the taxpayer is returning to the site that they had their return last year, I believe that TaxSlayer will actually be able to pull in this information automatically without the client showing us the return. Let's go ahead and look at an example. So consider the following simple example. The current tax year 2025, as an SSA 1099, which includes a back payment of $17,000 for 2024. In 2024, the taxpayer filed a single, did not receive any Social Security benefits, had a W-2 job where they earned $20,000, and they had no student loan interest deduction or no tax-exempt interest. So let's go ahead and jump into TaxSlayer and look at the two options for this lump sum payment. I am now in TaxSlayer. I have my taxpayer with the $25,000 W-2 added. I will now add Social Security. So the benefits were $40,000, and I will add a Medicare premium, Part B, and this was $2,200. And continue. Okay, so now let's take a look at how much of my Social Security is taxable. So let me produce a PDF of the summary and scroll down to the 1040. And I can see that for my $40,000 of Social Security, that the taxable amount is $13,850. Okay, now let me go ahead and go back into the Social Security and add the lump sum election and see how things come out. So I'll go to the federal section, and let's edit that Social Security by beginning the lump sum payments worksheet. Okay, so here we know that the lump sum payment was for 2024. The filing status was single. They didn't have any payments in the prior year. The portion of this year's Social Security for the earlier year is $17,000, as can be seen on our current year 1099. The adjusted gross income for the earlier year, I believe I put that down as $20,000. No exclusions, adjustments, and no tax-exempt interest. And taxable benefits reported in an earlier year. I wish that they would say taxable Social Security benefits reported in an earlier year. That would be a lot clearer. So that is 0 in this example. So we'll click continue. And now let's go ahead to the summary and let's see what happened to the taxable Social Security. Okay, on page 2, so now we can see that the taxable amount of the Social Security is $83.75, and this is beneficial. So you can see that TaxSlayer automatically checked the lump sum election box here by putting the check in the box right over here. And if you look at the Social Security worksheet later on in the return, you'll see that it's got a section for figuring your taxable benefits under the lump sum election method, and you can feel free to reproduce this example and go through all these details, but this shows that the taxable amount is $83.75. I hope this video helps. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments? We'll be posting this video on our United Way Central Ohio Tax Time YouTube channel. You can leave comments there. You can ping me on Slack, or you can send me email at timmythetaxman@gmail.com.